Aloha mai kako, everyone. Welcome back to the Moana Nui podcast and our Marabam segment. This is Moana tuning in from the DC area, and I'm joined by my tita today.
Aloha mai kako. It's me, Kanoilani Davis on Molokai Nui Ahina, Mana Bombs powered by Pomahina Designs. Aloha.
So today's Manabam is stop giving people more chances to disappoint you. Yeah.
Woo-wee. I don't know. This might be a touchy subject for those who fall into these categories. So today's Mana Bomb actually came out today, December 11th. You're probably hearing this on Monday next week. But if you get a chance, go back. You'll see this one on Pomahina Designs on Instagram. Anywho, this one kind of addresses a few things. I want to talk about the people pleasers, the unconditional lovers, and the risk takers. And so we probably all fall in one of these categories. And if we're not in any of those categories and we learned those lessons, we fell into one of those at one point in time. And there's nothing bad about that. What it happens is it can get toxic for yourself and everybody around you. And as much as that's the irony, I want to talk about the irony of life. When you're thinking you're pleasing others, you're really not. But let's go ahead and dive right in. So I go into this whole thing. I'm going to take it apart. We'll talk about the people pleasers first. It's in my caption, so you can check it out, but I'll dive into why I feel like this. But people pleasers, that ick feeling that comes after realizing that you just gave way to one person at the cost of another person. Okay, well, let me break that down for you if you didn't figure that one out. For example, you are meant to be doing a certain thing, whether it is your loyalty to your family member or a relationship, whether it's your job, whether it's a friendship and a promise that you kept. But something happened in your situation that instead of keeping to and aligning to these things that you are part of sustainably, you choose to people please the people who are in front of you because you feel bad and you don't want to hurt their feelings. So if you listen to everything I'm saying, you're a self-centered person and you only think of yourself. Ooh, hard job for hear that one because you didn't want to hurt their feelings, but it compromised your obligations, your relationship, your word to the people that you were holding it to. So at the end of the day, you and people please this person, which was probably not sustainable, probably very temporary to make yourself feel good because you didn't have the courage to be honest. And instead, you hurt one place that is sustainable, that is a trusting place. And that, my friend, eventually will create resentment. Why is that important to know? So like in our Ekamo Iho program, we talk about kanawai and we talk about ipapohaku. Like kanawai are these codes of conducts and these things that we say we're going to do. And we do it regardless of what comes in our spaces. We have to do it. I like to think about the military, for example. I don't like to think about the military, but okay, let me just go back. I've been binge watching Lioness. If you ever get to watch that show, please do. It reminds me of how I was raised. The main character reminds me a lot of the way my grandfather raised me because of I have to turn off emotions in order to do the job. The job comes first, even if it means above my family. And my children know that. Unfortunately, it's not the best place for everybody, but some of us have to do that. And so a lot of the times the kana why keeps us in line. It makes us understand these boundaries we can and cannot cross. It is for the sustainability and the health of you and your family and those around you. Because there are manipulators who know you're a people pleaser. They will purposely find ways to make you feel guilty for not appeasing to what they want and need. So you already are showing your weakness to others. If you're a person like me who observes and kilos, and if I was not a good person, and I was a person who decided to do harm and be just one of those junk people, I know how to take you apart real quick. Don't give them the benefit of the doubt. The salesperson who sells lemons in the car lot dealership, they can pick you apart real quick. Same like people in general. Even your friends and your families will do that because they know you the most. They know you're just going to say yes, and they know they can get what they want, and they know your soft spots. So the junk part, like I said, the irony in all of that is while you're people pleasing those folks, you're hurting the foundations that are going to be with you for a very long time. Think about what is better for you in the long run. Yeah. So stick to the plan, your inside stuff, your inside plans, goals, and dreams, and the team, because it's not only you, not all about you. Your choices do affect other people, unfortunately, especially if you are in a relationship, especially if you're part of a job. You're definitely affecting other people. Don't be that person. Okay, before I move on to the unconditional lover and the risk taker, do you want to like chime in on the people pleaser?
Yes, I had never thought about it as like being a people pleaser. You're kind of being self centered. Like I was like, wait, sis, what you mean?
Because
Because
only
like
thinking about himself.
right, I'm kind of like recovering people pleaser over here. Like I've definitely been doing the work to set up the boundaries. And while it was hard at first, I definitely appreciate setting the boundaries because you make yourself sick being on people pleaser. Like you just can't. It's impossible to please everybody. So like, I guess my main message is just that. Like, it's an impossible mission that you set yourself up for. If you're trying to be a people pleaser, you're giving yourself stress, anxiety, like all of those things. And then you, like you were saying, you definitely set yourself up if people are manipulative because they can predict your behavior, they can predict what you would say, what you would do, and they'll use that to get like what they want, right? So yeah, that's oof. I'm really thinking over here about kind of flipping that in terms of like that means you're self-centered. I'm like, wow, I'm gonna have to think about that one for a while. But it's definitely true. And I think sometimes being a people pleaser is a learned behavior, especially if you were raised by people who have the same thing. Yeah. So, I mean, I know that's something that I definitely have to watch and learn from and like in the people around me and then kind of see like the consequences of them being like that because I see them like being unhappy and just like in this kind of rat race, like hamster wheel, kind of just like going in circles on the same thing, hurting the people around them. Because also when you people please, that means you sometimes you're setting people up to do things that really is not their kuleana because you don't know how to say no. Like that's something
Well,
I
not
had
only
to
that,
learn.
I
Mhm.
think you forget you affect people by people. You affect your
100.
foundation.
Yeah.
Whether it be projecting or saying I cannot show up because I make this commitment to this person because I couldn't tell them no, and then now the people who show up for you all the time now have to like lose that part of you. Like you
Mhm.
remember, everything is a give and take. So if you're taking from this place, that means you're giving to this place, and see, right, everything gotta happen like this, yeah. So yeah, so don't forget that part because I think we're only thinking of other people's kuleana. We're not really looking at ourselves and how this
Right.
is our kuleana. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I really had to learn that one as took leadership positions, right? And how my previous tendencies to say yes to a lot of things has kind of put burdens on like my team to have to fulfill because they look at me as they're like, okay, well, Moana wants us to do that. So we gotta do it, even if it's like, oh bro, we just I don't know that we can do that. But we gotta do them because she committed us to it, right? Like so that's something I definitely had to change in my own approach as I was doing my own learning, just to like because I think sometimes, especially if you people please, maybe you don't realize like the power of your own words and like what you are asking people to do when you do it. And so, yeah, your words have actions, it creates burdens, but it can create good, but you just got to be mindful of that balance. So for me, it like always comes back to the balance. Like, how much can I do? And that's again back to like setting the boundaries of like what is possible. Somebody might be asking me for, I don't know, 10 things. I don't have to say yes to the 10 things, but I also don't have to say zero to the 10 things. I can say maybe I can do two of the 10, but I cannot give you
Nice.
10, right? Like there's a way to find that medium of what makes sense while still keeping you accountable to like your kuleana, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. Those are those discussions. That one's going to hit chords with a lot of people pleasers. Nobody wants to hear that they're probably the problem. So a lot of their own personal sufferings and then the projections they put upon the burdens like you had just mentioned. Somebody's got to pay the price,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
And if you're going to commit to something, it should only be you. Your family shouldn't have to commit to projections because you're too busy now to cook dinner, because you got too busy helping somebody else, or your children not being able to see you at a game because you committed to this. And it's not fair. Somebody's going to lose out. And like I said, if it's usually the people who are going to be with you all the time, the people that are your literal ride or dies. Your children have zero choice. So they're a ride or die. Your partner, your team as a leader, somebody's picking up somebody else's mess constant. And it's not fair because that's not how teams work, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a big part of that's why I say it is very self-centered, because we didn't consult with the team before we made agreements. We chose to make agreements on our own, and everybody can suffer from that. And our families, that's how resentments are built upon. They're built upon burdens. Okay. The next one is to the unconditional lover, right? You're a rare one because there's not too many people with unconditional love, right? But seeing the best in others only depletes you of your currency. And remember, I always say currency is your time, money, and energy. You give without expectations, and yet you get used, walked on, and disrespected. You must learn that the first person you give unconditional love to has to be yourself. Others will need to learn their lessons, and that can be love too. You can't soften blows unless they're willing to meet you halfway. And so this one kind of comes from this perspective of, I'll talk from a perspective. I'm this person, definitely. I talk from as a person who has a lot of patience, and my tolerance is pretty high. I can put up with a lot. It doesn't mean I have to, but the unconditional love is real. And I'll say that from a very toxic space. When you're in a toxic relationship, what's the first thing you do because you love that person? Oh, they're going to change. They're going to get better. No, they're not like this all the time. It's because this happened. So that's why they're acting out like this, right? Justification, even though they're cheating, even though they're beating you, even though they're gaslighting you, even though they're manipulating every single thing around you. No, because you saw the good in them. You felt the good in that person, and you stick to that. And our mind just kind of likes to stay with the unconditional lover, likes to know that that's the place they want to be in because they've seen it. They know it's possible. But what they didn't know was that person was a manipulator, a master manipulator who saw your weakness. Now, people pleasing, and I'm going to go back. People pleasing, unconditional lovers, and risk takers are not toxic people. A lot of the times they don't know how to manage their space, and that's all it is, because there's benefits to all of those things. But yeah, the unconditional lover will get walked on, and I say that because there will be a time where you have to unconditionally love yourself, and much like the people pleaser, especially if you're a parent with children who are involved in this very family dynamic or relationship dynamic, again, business dynamic, leadership dynamic, somebody's getting hurt. Somebody is getting hurt. Not just you, like indirectly, people are either witnessing, getting hurt, something's happening. So the problem in those situations is the manipulator already knows your tolerance. They know you see the good in people, and they lean on that. And that's where the narcissist will poke in and love bomb you. Yeah, the unconditional lover doesn't get credit, and it's good to see the good in people. Please do not just go straight and see the bad in people. It's good to see the good in people, but you also have to kilo or observe fully to better understand what's really happening. What's the reality of what's happening here? And does it match or fit you? Is it going to inspire you, or is it going to deplete you? You have to think about those things. So if it depletes you, it is not a healthy space to be in, and you need to think about the love you have for yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. Like, will it inspire you, or will it deplete you. Because yeah, bro, that the time, energy, all of that. I mean, life is it's hard enough as it is, right? Like and
I know.
I feel like every segment that we do, it for me at least, I always go back to like self-awareness in terms of like what is healthy for you and what is not healthy. And the person who knows that best is you, right? Like, and I always think about like, okay, is this thing that I'm dealing with, can I sleep with myself? Like with the decisions that I've made, can I sleep peacefully and not be like in my head, like, oh my God, did I do this? Am I at peace with myself? So yeah, I definitely see how this one can be used against you as well. I mean, we love the unconditional lovers because, like you said, there is a lot of goodness around it. But again, being aware of whether you're a doormat or if people are using you. And if you are amongst people who are using you, it's time to create space. Like, and know that you got to restore your own, like, that's part of self care in my mind. Like, self care is knowing, okay, well, these people, they're not healthy for me because they, especially if like you're trying to move away from being like the unconditional lover and you're trying to create those boundaries, if they're making it harder for you to do that, then even more so to reassess and like hemo those people from your space because it's not helping you grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. Here's the iron. I'll tell you the irony in this one. Unconditional love means unconditional love. No more expectations, no more boundaries. So how does this fit in, right? If anybody's listening out there and probably thought about that, like, how can the unconditional love now have boundaries? Well, what it is in this case and scenario, I'd like to invoke a thought in regards to, like, I had mentioned others will need to learn their own lessons, right? So,
Yeah.
and you can't soften their blow. And I'm that kind of person. I hear you're struggling. I like to come in and be like, you'll be fine. Let me just hold you up. You're fine. Just put your feet down. But then you're still kind of, I always think of that one meme where that little boy is on that rope in the water and he's like crying, scared because he thinks he's gonna drown in the water, and the sister or whatever comes, grabs his legs and puts it down on the ground, and he stands up and he's like, oh, it's not even deep. And so, like, those kind of people, right? So and you have that unconditional love for those, because when you have unconditional love for somebody, it's because you love yourself unconditionally. That's the only way that's going to work. But what you're also probably going to see that, like, what the problem with that is that people have to learn their own lessons at their own time. And that is a big lesson I had to learn.
Yeah.
Like, do not get in the way of other people's karma. If I hate to say this and it sounds really freaking bad, like, if they're meant to fall, let them fall. Because that's probably the reason why they need to learn that lesson. But if everybody kept picking them up or catching them, they had never learned that lesson, they're probably causing damage all along the way of their life, right? And that's not fair to others. Who are we? None of our business. And then that unconditional love is like saying, I love you enough to let you go. I love you enough to let you learn your lesson. I love you enough that I know you need help and I got to go find help for you.
Yeah.
Right? That's the unconditional love. So don't feel, because that past relationship, he knows I leaned on that. And he would come at me like, I thought you had unconditional love. This doesn't feel like unconditional love. And I'm like, and for a long time, I was like, you know what? You're right. Oh my gosh. And then one day I woke up and I was like, wait a moment. One, I have to have unconditional love for myself. Two, I love you enough to let you go. I can let you go. I can let you go. I don't gotta do it. Yeah, I don't gotta touch none of that, or this, or that, or that. That's all yours. Go take care of your business. And it was mainly about it doesn't stop you from being unconditional. It helps you understand what is yours and what is not. And when you understand what is yours and what is not, boy, it makes a whole world of difference. And it helps you to understand why boundaries are needed. The goal in life is to be born without boundaries, to have all this crap happen to you, to then have to build boundaries, to then go through life knowing how amazing and strong you are as an individual, to get rid of boundaries and to die without those boundaries anymore.
Yeah.
So, I mean, those are the things we just need to think.
Yeah. And I think it's important in terms of like letting people fall is that we have to, by not letting them learn their lessons, we are not giving them the chance to become resilient, which is like really, really important. Because it's like babying somebody. You know what I mean? And as a as an older sibling, like I'm always like, okay, you gotta. We never really had anybody to kind of look out for us. So it's like, okay, we'll bump the head over here, stop your toe over there, or whatever the challenge is. And then so because you have those lived experience, you're like, oh, okay, I gotta help them. So maybe that doesn't happen to them, but then you're not giving them the opportunities to learn their own lessons, which is important. And like you said, everybody learns at their own pace. And I think that's the biggest lesson to learn because they're not gonna learn them the same way you did. And it's just you gotta be okay with that. Like, okay. Especially when you raising Keiki, one. And then two, if you're like a coach or a mentor and trying to help someone, whether it's at work and stuff like that, you're like, you can already foresee things that you see coming down the road. But if you don't let them kind of develop it for themselves, and they become dependent on you. And that's not what you want to happen. Like what we're trying to create is independence so people can become fully functioning human beings and not people who always have to, oh, I had somebody over here to kind of be my crutch as I'm navigating these different things in life, right? I think that's the main thing. That at least for me, like I have to constantly remind myself because I fall back into like, oh, okay, I got a big tita mode. I'm like, nope, cannot be there. Gotta let them learn. So yeah.
Yeah. If you ever get to watch Final Destination, something that came out in the 1990s. For them younger ones, go watch it. For them older ones, y'all know what I'm talking about. When you got in the way of somebody else's you going down too. So think of that every day. All right. The last one is the risk takers. Okay. You're the pleaser and the unconditional lover. So you kind of embody a little bit of both. You bet on others who are great salespeople, the ones who complain because they know what's best when given opportunity to be the leader of their destiny, they do not show up fully. You bet on the ones who say how great they are at this and that, and when it's time to hit the pavement, it's crickets. You've been deceived. It's time to see action before words. It's time to remove the sales pitch niceties of a person and deeply see them who they are and accept it. It's okay to just say no. You're not a fit. Don't take the risk. That only costs you. And I think I will say that like I've been experiencing a lot of that lately. I believe in people. When you say that you're good at this and you're good at that, I like to have that. I hear it and I'm like, okay, you can handle these things. But when it's time to go do it, right, Derek, like, what the hell are you? It's like pulling teeth. And I'm like, oh, you talk a good game. Maybe you need self-awareness, right? That's them saying what they want to be, not who they are. Is what we're learning. And then you have the ones who are like, they complain. Oh yeah, this my boss at my old job did this, and this, or like my coworkers did this. We should have done this, and I think this could have been better. I think this could have been better. And as a person, you hear that, you're like, oh, okay, I see it. You know how to do those things. You're complaining about it. So like, I'm hearing you want those things. Those are things that you want to pursue. So of course I'm like, yeah, here. Why don't you go ahead and do this? Then it's in that and go do what you got to do. I'll allow. It's all you. Here's your parameters. Go do it. Crickets. Don't know how to do nothing. Asking 500 questions. Like, so like that's that deceiver, the salesperson. Yeah. And we run into those people a lot. They usually show up either on your first date or your employees you just hired. So I say that laughingly only because I think the reality of it all is a lot. What I'm learning is that people speak on behalf of what they want to be and not who they are. And then they're tricking themselves to think that they're these great things, but they really need to work on all of those things first. And these could be older people. I have more hard time with older people than I have with younger people, to be honest with you, because they don't have all the stuff. But the part of that is the risk. You take that risk. And what happens is the only person that loses in those situations is usually yourself and the team, obviously, or the relationship or the friendship. And that again, somebody's always suffering. That's why this one is for the like really letting people who embody these things to understand you're self-centered. Straight up. Get over yourself. You're selfish.
What do you mean, Kanoy?
I hate to tell you that. You are. You like, let's go down the list. And I think that's a part of it. Because here's a solution to all of this. You have to be radically honest with yourself.
Yes.
And accept that. That's the only way you can do it. I hear people say they're radically honest, but I watch what they do, they're not. Again, a convincer. The what Uncle Maka would say when we used to be Uncle Olave, win biscuits. That's all they do is serve win biscuits. And people just eat them all up, right? So when you're at a point of observation and you can sit on this side and you can start to see, you go, oh, they all talk. I like to be with those people. And then they wonder why they're devalued or they need and that's the irony. Another irony for the risk taker is the need to be valued actually devalues because they're chasing, they're attracting.
Yes.
They're acting upon instead of being who they are. And that's where we lose the radical honesty.
Yeah, definitely. The chasing piece. Because I even had to like notice that in myself. Like, why am I chasing this thing? And why am I not being confident and listening to my now? I always have to ask myself that now. Like, your gut is telling you something. It really hasn't been wrong. So why aren't you trusting it? What is that thing that's causing you not to trust it? That's what I've asked myself. And I'm like, okay, be confident in like what you know and stop trying to chase stuff down, I think.
I also want to share too. Sometimes we stick to the why or what. Is it that is making me not listen to my now or whatever it is? That's semantics. Honestly, I will tell you why. Does it matter? Just do what you're supposed to do. Don't worry about the spilled milk. Go wipe it up. Now ask, how did it spill? Where did it spill? Where did the milk come from? What cow did it come from? What land and genealogy did it come from? Meanwhile, go freaking clean up the milk before the things spoil and stink and stain. Like literally, that's the exact metaphor of what people do. We so focus on the semantics for nothing. And at the end of the day, time is going, shit's happening, milk is spoiling. And here's the funny part. The milk will dry up, probably stain and get hard. Now you could have just wiped it up while it was nice and wet. Instead, now you got to go scrub and clean. So if that's the metaphor for life, it's perhaps don't worry about the semantics. Just do what you're supposed to do. And you know you're supposed to.
Yeah. Just do it. Just do it. Like Nike, just do it.
Exactly. Just do it. Don't question it. Just do it. That's actually number 3 of the philosophies my grandfather taught me when I was a little girl, right? The 3, Ho Manawa Nui, patience. 2, breathe. 3, just do. Listen to your now. And that has never steered me wrong. When I start to like really bring that into play, I'm like, oh shit. Boom. Go.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, it all aligns in the end.
For sure. Yeah, your grandpa was definitely a wise one. And that's definitely something we're going to cover in our next episode. Alrighty, guys. So stop giving people more chances to disappoint you. Just do it.
Just do it. Be radically honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Listen to yourself. You know best. All right. Thank you for listening. Sorry if I offended all of y'all. Again, not my problem. That's yours. Nah. Sorry. Okay. That's what a lot of aloha. Anyways, signing off from the island of Molokai Nui Ahina. This is Kanoilani Davis from Mana Bombs, powered by Pomahina Designs.
All right. And this is Moana, recovering people pleaser from the Moana Nui podcast. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe. And I'm not going to chase you. Just do it. All right, everybody. See you guys next time. Ahui ho kako.